Destro.
What will happen? Find out in the further adventures of G.I. Joe from Marvel Comics.
Hey, welcome to Half the Battle.
Since last week's comic had such a good story, I thought, why not run down the greatest story arcs of the comic book series?
So, without further ado, here are the top 5 best G.I. Joe comic story arcs.
Number 5. Snake Eyes: The Origin. If you've watched my show for some time, you know I'm not the greatest fan of Snake Eyes. I believe he was overused and a bit overrated. But even I have to admit, learning about his past, as it was told by various other characters, was really well done. Plus, you also learned about Storm Shadow's past at the same time, and things about some of the other Joes. Number 4. Barovia Prison Camp Arc. Stalker, Snowjob, Quick Kick, and Outback are sent to the fictional country of Barovia to free a journalist. But the operation goes south pretty soon, and 3 of them end up in a prison camp, with only Outback escaping. By the way, this story isn't just in the regular series. It crosses over into special missions. I guess this was to promote a relatively new series some more. They spent 5 months in a work camp, before they are finally rescued by, of course, Snake Eyes and friends. Oh, and Flint gets punched by Lady J. That's not really relevant to the main story,
but it's just too sweet to leave out.
This arc had hardship, heroism, and a traveling circus for some reason. It was also very character-driven. Top marks. Number 3. The Battle of Springfield. We've only just covered this arc in our comic review series, but boy was it a good one. And not just because it had great action, which it did, but because of how it changed things. Cobra has lost their main base of operations in the US, but so did the Joes. And Serpentor consolidated his power over Cobra. This arc also involved every single Joe and Cobra character that was around at the time. It was a grand adventure. Number 2. The Cobra Civil War.
Yeah, Serpentor didn't consolidate his power for long.
Because Cobra Commander returns and he's ready to kick butt.
Well, Cobra Commander anyway, but let's not get into that right now.
The Commander and Serpentor once again butt heads, leading to a full-scale civil war, with the Joes getting involved too. Once again, practically every single Joe and Cobra character are involved. Hell, it goes Battle of 5 armies near the end, with the Joes, Serpentor, Cobra Commander, and Destro's forces all clashing.
Yes, I know that's only 4.
The Battle of 5 armies also only had 4, depending on how you count. It's an epic story arc with a satisfying end and a great coda even. And finally, number 1, the Quinn and Venom story arc.
I've done a whole video on this years ago because it was so good.
The journey of these 2 characters, invented for the comic, so not created by Hasbro, was really compelling. Quinn the Eskimo, former enemy, then friend to the Joes, and Dr. Venom, who was Cobra's mad scientist du jour at one point, had a complex antagonistic relationship that could only end in one way, and a very satisfying way it was indeed. But the journey itself was fascinating to see unfold. Unlike the previous 2 entries, which focused on large-scale battles, this was very much character-driven. The end of their story did have a big battle, but it was as a backdrop more than anything. Oh, and their story involved Snake Eyes, because of course it did.
It was one of the first story arcs in the comic, and it remains the best to this day.
And those were the top 5 best story arcs in the G.I. Joe comic. Did I leave any out? Or do you have a different order? Let me know in the comment section below.
I'll see you next time, everybody, and hey, why not like, share, and subscribe if that's your thing.
G.I. Joe, fighting Cobra and Destro. They're counter-attacking. And so will Destro.
What will happen? Find out in the further adventures of G.I. Joe from Marvel Comics.